I don't really know where friendslop came from, but I don't think it's a good thing. 2025 has been jam-packed with games, that's a given. We've had colossal RPGs, mind-bending puzzles, Metroidvanias, whatever you fancy playing, there's been an absolute corker release this year. However, above all else, one genre of game has been more trendy than others. And that's right, I'm talking to you about those goofy co-op games that you and your friends have spent hundreds of hours howling at over Discord. But that's the thing, they haven't just been called goofy co-op games this year. Instead, the internet has coined a new term for this style of game: friendslop. Not friendship, you heard me right, friendslop. I'm pretty sure slop is never a good way to describe things, but here we are. We've gone through phases of creating phrases and words like this, like adding pilled to describe something that you're really into, or maxing when you're taking a lot of something in all at once, but even then, the real meaning of these words is so flexible and down to the user that you can't really give an exact definition. Friendslop, however, felt like nails on a chalkboard the first time that I heard it, like a bad record scratch in my brain that made me quickly cut through all of the internet lingo that I'm used to hearing and really think, wait a second, what? Mostly because it has been used in consistent reference to games that I've really enjoyed playing this year. So guys, I want to talk to you about friendslop and maybe we can make sense of it together. If you have somehow escaped the plague of the term friendslop this year, then let me put it into some games that you might have played which have fallen an unfortunate victim. REPO, the co-op horror meets valuable collector, which launched in February, Peak, the multiplayer mountain climbing simulator from June, and the demo of Yap Yap from October are 3 examples from this year alone that immediately spring to mind. The thing that these games have in common are 1. They are multiplayer and best played with a group of friends. 2. They have goofy yet oddly charming characters to play as. 3. They all have proximity chat and physics-based mechanics, making them perfect clip fodder. This doesn't necessarily apply to all games branded as friendslop, but it does seem to be quite a common recurring theme. As long as a game has these sorts of hilarious, unprompted moments which cause you and your friends to burst into a fit of laughter and share clips to all of your social media, there's a high chance that it falls under this category. But why aren't we just calling them co-op games, after all? Isn't that what they are? Because the more I look into what exactly friendslop is and why people are branding so many games with it, the more I see games from the last few years being pulled in too. From a quick scroll on Reddit, this entire list of games is considered to be slop. Lethal Company, Are We There Yet?, Escape the Backrooms, Magica, Content Warning, Last Train Out of Wormtown, Human Fall Flat, Helldivers, Void Crew, Minecraft, Gary's Mod, Phasmophobia, Abiotic Factor, Among Us. You get the idea. Basically, any game that can be played with friends is merging under one genre, which makes it incredibly challenging to define. After all, we've already got multiplayer and co-op as genre tags, so what really is friendslop? Wikipedia describes friendslop as a video game genre consisting of low-budget, low-stakes, and often humorous co-op video games sold at bargain prices that one's entire friend group can afford to purchase and play right away. I have a few issues with this description, mostly revolving around the price point. Going back to the list of games you've just unfortunately had to sit through, some of these are by no means a bargain price. Helldivers, Abiotic Factor, and Minecraft, all mentioned by Reddit users as friendslop, are above the £10, $10 range, which is where I'd probably put the cutoff for games my friends would immediately buy if I asked them to. So should they be removed from this list, even if they match every other part of the description? This is where I start to get a bit lost. So to clear things up, I asked PC Gamer's resident friendslop enthusiast and writer, Ellie Gould, how they would describe friendslop, to which they replied, maybe a game that doesn't have to be polished to be fun with friends, or a game that gives you the freedom to get silly with friends. I feel like friendslop depends on the person. If you play a multiplayer game with friends and you're able to get wacky with it, then it's friendslop. It's a state of mind. Even with this more concrete description though, I still can't get over the use of slop in this sense. The dictionary definition of slop comes in a few forms, with the most common being the action of a liquid spilling or flowing over the edge of a container, typically as a result of carelessness. Alternatively, it's what you feed animals like pigs, rather than setting them up with a PC and letting them try to carry Bing Bong to the top of the peak. In more common terms, I see slop used to describe things on the internet like Italian brain rot images or generally AI images in generated content. So it's unusual for a game to be branded as slop in a positive way when so many of the connotations tend to be more negative. While I was looking into the term friendslop as a whole and seeing what people had to say about its uses, a lot of the time it just referred to games that were trendy or streamer bait, which are both definitely more positive terms than slop. This is where my problem with friendslop really lies. To me, it just feels quite negative, which is contradicting when used as a way to describe some of the biggest multiplayer games from this year, let alone the launches from previous years which are being pulled in now. I have absolutely loved getting to explore some of these games with friends who don't usually play, just because things like Peak and Repo feel that little bit more accessible than something like Overcooked or, I don't know, Fall Guys. It feels wrong to brand them as friendslop when they are so far from slop, and even though they can occasionally be a little rough around the edges, I still find myself coming back time and time again to keep playing. At the end of the day, there will always be a word that the internet comes up with which just sounds and feels horrendous to say. I don't disagree that there has been a significant increase in these goofy physics-based co-op games this year in particular, but I do also believe that there are probably much more charming ways to describe them than slop. For the time being though, I'm probably going to have to get used to grimacing every time I hear it said. If you have any ideas on how we can branch away from the term friendslop in 2026, then be sure to drop a comment below and subscribe to PC Gamer if you'd like to see another video like this where I try and wrap my brain around another word coined by the internet. Bye! 6-7 words, 6-7!